Let's take a look at Julia's stances, starting with the wind roll. Wind roll you can do by 3+4 or up 3+4. It'll make you go into or out of the screen. There are 3 strings that can transition into wind roll by just pressing 3 or 4. The first one we talked about in her punishment game, which is just 1, 2. You can do 1, 2, 3 to roll up, or 1, 2, 4 to roll down. And that's true for all these strings. 3 rolls up and 4 rolls down. So 1, 2 punches will do it, as well as the down, down, forward, the move that we call shotgun. This, if you just press 3, goes up, press 4 goes down. And the other one is her while standing 2. Tequila Sunrise can also go into wind roll. So those are your 3. You're going to use those frequently. You're going to use down, down, forward 1 a lot, both in combos and in pressure game. The other ones, you can take your chances with. If you keep your opponent guessing well, it'll be just fine. The 5 options she has out of wind roll make a pretty good series of mix-ups, but they're not the best stance transitions in the game. The first move, the 1 attack, is a high. This will launch you on counter hit. This is the fastest move out of the stance, so if you try to interrupt and you're wrong about it, this will counter hit launch you. 2 is also a mid. This will not counter hit launch you, but it does wall splat and knocks you back a little bit. Both of these are safe on block. 1+2 is also a mid that forces crouch like this. This will also counter hit launch you. Again, safe on block. So far, so good with this stance. There's nothing really missing there. She has another mid, which is 3, 1+2. Knocks you down. This one is not going to be safe. This is -13, as you kind of would expect. That's a move that feels like it's -13. It's a good mid, high damage, knocks down. You cannot hit confirm this. It looks like it's the label. It's really not. You kind of have to let it rip. So that's 3, 1+2 out of the wind roll. The last option is 4, 1+2. Looks like that. It's a low into the shoulder that knocks you down. The shoulder itself is -16 if you happen to whiff. If you block that low, it's -84. It doesn't even matter. It's a tremendously low stagger block. You do not want to get that blocked, but you got to play the game. If you want to play the mix-up game, that's the risk that you take. So there are highs, mids, and lows. If you block the string that transitions her into wind roll, say you just block the 1, 2 jabs and she goes into it, you can beat her out of all the options with a 12-frame move. The fastest move is the wind roll 1. This would trade with a 13-frame, which you don't want to do because she would still get the counter hit launcher in Tekken 7 rules. So a 12-frame move beats this out entirely. The only thing it doesn't beat is the low sweep because it'll high crush. Since your 10, 11, 12-frame moves are all highs, the low sweep will beat them. It high crushes before they're active. She'll go right underneath it. So if you do the math correctly, that tells you a 12-frame mid would stop everything. It beats out the fastest move, and it stops the high crushing move from crushing you. So if you're one of those select characters that has a 12-frame mid, and if Julia does something out of her wind roll, you can blow it up every time with that. If she does nothing, obviously she can just block. But if you have a Julia that wants to just constantly spin around and mix you up, 12-frame mids can stop that entirely. If you don't have a 12-frame mid, you have to make a read somewhere. There's no other choice. You can't step it universally. You can't get away from it entirely. You can try things like sidestep quickly to the right and then duck, and you'll beat this option, not that option. You got to make a read one way or another. You have to pick something and then try to beat it. So if you want to go low, for example, you would block the low and launch punish that. You would duck the high and launch punish that. So you kind of have to think about what your opponent wants to do and make a read. There's no other good way out of it. I will say, however, that if you get hit on the way into wind roll, if the 1-2 hits or shotgun hits you, she gets an extra 5 frames of advantage, which means you cannot stuff her from doing the 1. That one would be a guaranteed option. That one would not be able to be stopped. You would be able to jab her out of some of the other ones, but you're taking your life in your hands if you try. If you just got hit and you're thinking about jabbing the mix-up afterward, you might want to just reevaluate the whole thing and just kind of take your chances with it, be a little more passive, and try again. So just to recap, there's 3 strings. 1, 2, down, down, forward 1, the shotgun, and while standing 2. All of those transition into wind roll. The moves out of wind roll, she has a high, a mid, another mid, a knockdown mid, and a knockdown low. 2 of them counter hit launch, and you kind of have to make a read one way or another. But put together, if the Julia player is guessing correctly, she's going to just walk all over you. She's going to get the knockdowns, the wall splats, the frame advantage, everything. You're going to have to do something to stop this mix-up game if that's the kind of thing the Julia player wants to do. You're going to have to be proactive. If not, she is going to just mix you up, and you're going to have a long day of trying to guess correctly. So Julia's other stance is called Swift Step. It is just this little hop forward, just done by forward +3. That's all you have to do, forward 3 into this little stance. She has 2 strings that can go into it. One is forward 2-1, and just press 3, and you get the little hop. The other is down forward 2, and press 3, and you get that little hop. So the options out of the hop are to cancel it immediately with 1. If you just do forward 3 and then 1, you get while standing 1 because she recovers crouch right there. If you have to press 1 immediately, like that, before she even gets off the ground. If you press the 1 quickly enough, she'll give you that lunge punch. Which I have a hard time doing that on pad. There it is. This is a really good move all around. It's fast, covers a lot of distance. It's a high that's -3. It's not quite plus, but it's still pretty good. They're not going to be able to react to this sort of thing. So if you think about it in terms of coming out of the stance, like that, that's dangerous. They're going to have a hard time reacting to that correctly or doing anything about it. The fun part is the down forward 2 version. If you just do down forward 2-3-1, that's a natural combo. Excuse me. The hit stun of down forward 2 is enough that will hit them all on its own. It's an interesting kind of toss up because if you hit the down forward 2-1 is that launcher. So I mean, if you hit the down forward 2 and you don't get your launcher, it's going to kind of feel wasteful. But what this does is let you use this as a bit more of a pokey sort of tool instead of just a whiff punishment move. So that is a natural combo. If you want to consider working into your arsenal, you do have that. So canceling Swift Step with a 1 gets you this. Otherwise, if you just do the Swift Step, you have 3 options. 2 looks like that. Little mid punch. Knocks you down, safe on block. Launches you on counter hit. She has 4, which is this little low. It's only -13. Also launches you on counter hit. So what that's saying is you don't want to challenge Swift Step. You kind of want to just take it. What's the worst that could really happen to you? You get hit by this low? It's not a big deal. Taking that little 17 damage is not worth the risk of getting counter hit launched by anything else that it does. The other option she has is up 3+4, which looks like that. I don't see a good reason to do this other than you haven't done it for the last 5 years and you're itching to do it again. I don't know. It launches on natural hit, but it's -16. And I really don't see an opponent that's going to duck reliably. I guess if you got them trained against this all day and they want to start blocking low against Swift Step, you can launch them with that, but shoo boy. It's not super worth it in my book. I would rather just Swift Step and do nothing and then, try to counter hit their next attack like that and stay safe. I don't know. Because you could always just Swift Step and then do that 1. Since you recover and crouch, you get that mid launcher, which is only -13. So that's kind of an interesting move to me. I'm not quite sure what the intended usage of it is. It will high crush, I suppose. If you do catch them trying to counter hit you, you could, I don't know, this doesn't seem like a great move to have. You're better off to just go right into the lunge punch like that, or the 2 and the 4 mix up. The 2 and the 4 mix up is good. The 2 knocks you down and wall splats all on its own. The 4 is annoying, and they both launch you on counter hit. I think that's enough. That's enough considering the only 2 places you get this move are off of this anyway. There's only 2 ways to get to it. That's enough. The drawback is if you do get this string into the transition, they can definitely beat you by sidewalking to the left. If they're keen enough, they see, oh, there comes that forward 2-1 string, and she's probably going to go for that. If they start sidewalking to their left, they'll beat it clean. But that requires a very, very attentive opponent. Someone who's known how to do that and has practiced it and is ready for you to get baited by it. So if you see that, you kind of have to stop that whole thing. Just go for the stance and then nothing. They're waiting for you to, overact and then beat you. So if you start seeing an opponent that's keen to that, just do the stance and then nothing. And you'll take that back away, forces them to reevaluate their game plan. So Swift Step is kind of interesting. I feel like this is the best thing that it does, canceling it right away into that big lunge punch. That's the best tool in my opinion. Every so often, boop, that little low will come in handy. You can use the delayed timing of the 2 for resets at the wall. Like that, you know what I mean? Weird little timing situations. That move kind of takes a second to come out, and it kind of messes with their timing a little bit. So that's really what it's for, is just to keep the opponent off guard. And if you do keep them off guard successfully, you get 2 counter hit launches. Not too bad.